Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Tommy Gilmore with Noisy Bird Digital Marketing, and you are watching another episode of Spotlight Southern Utah. I'm excited to be joined today by Amelia Larson.
Yep. She
founded and owns a Life for Seniors.
Yep.
So I'm excited to learn more about her company, but if this is your first time watching, every week we talk to a new business owner here in Southern Utah about the service that they offer. So Amelia, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about a Life for Seniors and how you got started in entrepreneurship and how long you've been in business, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, so the $1 million question. So we've been around for 7 years. It was one of those things where I feel like starting a business, it's never comfortable, right? You just have to convince yourself to take the leap and hope for the best. I think that's a question we get a lot is like, how do you know when the right time is or anything like that? So I just say go for it and figure it out as you go, and that's my best words of wisdom for starting a business.
That's great.
No, but the reason that I got into doing this specifically is my dad's dad, so my grandpa, was paralyzed when I was little. And so we grew up with him and did a lot of volunteering hours and skilled nursings and things like that, and really just got to see the industry as a whole. Fast forward, I was going to school for speech therapy when my grandma had a stroke and my uncle had cancer, and so we really got to experience everything that is healthcare. And that's when I really decided I wanted to make a difference in this field. So I switched my degree, did healthcare administration for my undergrad and gerontology for my master's degree, and really wanted to dive in. Started off in skilled nursing, did pretty much every single type of a job in a senior living community that you could do, from serving, activities director, to marketing, to running the buildings. And it was at that point when my grandma had the stroke that I really realized how much stress goes onto the family like during this time. No one typically prepares for this for some reason. And so basically I decided, how can we be a resource to help families find the right assisted living for them as a no-cost resource so that they have less stress during this whole process. So that's what we do. We're just a free local resource that helps people find assisted living and memory care.
That's awesome. And I love that you said it's a free resource, right? You guys, you've modeled it so that you get paid by the companies and the families that you serve don't have to worry about where
Correct.
finding anything or anything like that. Like you guys help basically play matchmaker and find the right fit for what they're looking for.
Yeah, we're in one of those industries where it's unless you're in it every single day, you really don't know what to look for, what to ask. So what we do is we really sit down with the family and we understand what are your needs, what are your budget, what are your preferences, and then we'll handpick usually 3 or 4 buildings that fit that, set up tours, help do paperwork, the whole 9 yards, and then the buildings pay us a referral fee when people move in. But luckily for us, we work with all the assisted living, so we're not restricted to only 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know that you said that you not only serve Southern Utah, but you have different offices in different areas. What are some of those areas that you like to serve?
Yeah, so we do all of Utah. I personally bounce back and forth between Northern and Southern Utah, but we have a rep up in Northern Utah as well as down here in Southern Utah. We're also in Texas, Ohio, and Missouri. So a little bit of random locations, but what's been important for me is to open locations with team members that really have industry experience. So our team has worked in the industry, has run buildings, really knows what's going on, so they can educate families as we look through this.
That's awesome. If you're watching and you're worried about mom or grandma or anything like that, I know that you guys have some resources we were talking about off camera. Do you want to talk to them about not only helping find the right things, but maybe some of those other resources that they can find?
Definitely. So I think when it's time to recognize that someone needs more help in aging, there's a bunch of different services that you can start with, right? So you don't have to go from 0 to 100 and just move directly into a senior living community. There's home health services out there, there's home care. So what we've really tried to do is just build a network that if you have any question regarding senior aging, anything, that we can help connect you to the right resource. If you're a veteran, there is veteran resources we can connect you with. If you need home health, that's an insurance-based program we can help get you connected with. So I always say it's worth a phone call. We're a free service and we can just connect you to whatever you might need.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talking about starting the business, owning the business, all of that, this is a unique industry. This is something, like you said, it's something that a lot of people don't think about until it's kind of crisis time.
100%.
Talk to me about what challenges have you faced in those 7 years, and what have you had to do to overcome some of those challenges to maybe get in front of people before that crisis time, or really any of those challenges that you faced and had to learn from?
Yeah, so I think when we first started this, there was a couple of players in the industry. Like a really big one was A Place for Mom. Since then, there's of course more competition that has come up over the last 7 years. So it's been really important for us to figure out how we stay differentiating from those people. That has been a challenge. We survived COVID. That was a challenge, right?
Sure.
Because everyone was very fearful of what we didn't know. And so there's definitely been a lot of those obstacles. I think also first time business owner over here, but expanding to different states has been a whirlwind. And I think lastly, just figuring out how we can let the community know about us before the need arises. Right now, unfortunately, most of our families come from skilled nursing or hospital referrals, which is great, but at the same time, that means an event has happened and someone was unsafe at home, and that's now why they're having to look. So we're really trying to figure out, and that's where I think you come in, how to help people know about us before a crisis happens so that their loved one can have a say in what this plan looks like for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like a specific marketing challenge, something that's great. You mentioned a free resource. I'll shamelessly plug something we do. We offer a free checklist for businesses so that you can look over any marketing that you're doing and try to identify gaps.
Yeah.
Because word of mouth referrals, it's a great way to grow, and I believe in networking wholeheartedly, but it's not always predictable. You can get 10 in a month, you can get 1 the next month, or 0 the next month.
100%.
And so through creating other channels of marketing, it's great to improve the health of your business or identifying, like you said, oh, we want to get people before this crisis time. How do we get our name out there before then?
Exactly.
Hitting a different time in our funnel and building the awareness instead of, hey, this is crisis mode right now.
Yeah, no, and I think too, the earlier you can start having this conversation just allows for more opportunities. So assisted livings can get full, they can have wait lists. So I think it's important to start planning ahead so that you can identify what you want, what's important to you, and be able to get on that wait list so when the time comes, you have that as an option. The other thing is we're like that weird little industry where we have to be the original referral source. So if a family has called every building and then calls us, we unfortunately are not able to jump in and help out. We can help negotiate pricing and all of those things. So we always say, don't stress at all. Like just call us, we'll come up with a whole game plan and a map and just plug you in where you need to be involved and then just deliver it with a bow on top.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Especially for families, if you're dealing with aging mom or dad or uncle or like you said, this aging family member, there's already stress because you're trying to care for them, you're trying to do this, and then there's financial stress of can we afford parts of these, all of those things. It sounds like you guys, they come to you with the stresses and then you say, here's some options.
Yeah, no, I think my favorite phrase that we hear back from people is thank God we knew about you, or we wish we had known about you, just because it doesn't have to be as stressful as an experience as it typically is for people if you use the support that's out there.
Yeah, I think that's important. There is support for people that are in that position.
Yeah.
So I totally see value in the service
I
that
think
you
for
guys
both
do.
of us, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm over here venting to you about like how annoying like social media is and the whole 9 yards, and you're like, that's where we come in. That's where we like are experts in our field and can alleviate that stress, right? So I think the message as a whole is use your resources. It's okay to ask for help and it's okay to talk about problems, because I think the more you do it, the more you see you're not on this island, right?
So if you're watching, you own a business and you're like, it just feels so overwhelming. A, know that everybody's right there with you, right? But B, look for resources. There's free resources for people that have aging family members that you love. There's free resources for people with marketing troubles. Like the internet now is full of great free resources. Sometimes it's a matter of vetting them a little bit, but there is tons of free resources and tons of people that do want to help. So reach out, look for those resources, and as a small business owner, you just can't do it all alone, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I did this Goldman Sachs like 10,000 small business program, and basically like the motto of the class was, in order to grow your business, you have to work on your business, not in your business. And I think as a small business owner, like it's very hard to separate that sometimes and to utilize like the support system, because it's like your baby and your brand, and you have to just put trust in the people that you bring on to like really make sure that they can help you. I thought that was a really important message that I try to remind myself of daily. Yeah.
So what do you do to work? Like, do you have a ratio you shoot for? Do you have a time of day that you shoot for? How do you separate those for yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. I think every day for me it's a little bit wild, right? Right now my biggest focus has been to really trust the team that we've built and figure out how we can support them better and enable them to feel like as empowered as they can to go be the best placement agents out there. And I think I'm trying to shift a little bit more to empowering them to do that and allowing me to focus on more of the growth model of the business.
Yeah.
So how we can figure out social media, how we can engage families at more of a community level. So I'm stepping back from the day-to-day marketing and doing more kind of the behind the scenes of the growth strategy, which is not easy, and it's not easy to not get pulled back out there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just trying to create balance right now. So I'm a big checklist person. If it's not written down, it's not going to happen. So I basically tell Siri like all day, set a reminder for me to do this and then this and then that. It's my personal assistant.
Yeah. I think that's really good advice, is put people in place that you can trust and let them do that job. And then I think setting boundaries too, it sounds like would be important, is saying, hey, even if it's just 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.,
Yes.
I'm just simply not available to you as a resource.
Yeah.
That is your figure it out time.
Yep.
If you can't figure it out then, wait until 10:01 and I'm available.
Exactly. I will leave my phone away from me just so I cannot get pulled back in, because it is very easy to just get, at the end of the day sometimes you're like, I did a million things today, but like, what did I actually do?
What did I check off my checklist?
Exactly. Nothing actually got done, but I was like fielding a million calls and fires and this, that, and the other. So yeah, when you're in that growth position, I feel like you just have to get used to that feeling of discomfort and learn to love it.
Yeah. So you've given some great nuggets of wisdom. I appreciate everything that you've said. I hope you guys go back and watch this, take notes, things like that. But last question I like to ask, if you could go back to 7 years, you're just getting started, just getting your feet wet, what advice would you give yourself, or what do you wish you knew prior to starting the business?
My dad's favorite phrase is control what you can control. And I think that is something that I would tell myself at the beginning, that there's going to be like a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of unpredictable things that are going on out there, and it's easy to get rattled and to feel discouraged. And so I think just to remind myself to stay true to ourselves. We've been really big and intentional about staying ethical and staying just like an honest company, despite what we see going on by other companies, and just to do things for the right reason. But also, you're going to have good days and bad days. It's not personal in business. Yeah. So just to keep your head down and keep on the track.
That's great. I think that there's a few pieces of advice in there. Keeping ethical, creating a culture for your team that is ethical, pushing through the hard times. I love everything that you said. Yeah, I think a lot of that, it plays into it. So you talked about a free resource that people can get access to if they're worried about a loved one, things like that. Do you want to talk about that before we sign off?
So we made an overwhelmed caregivers guide, and basically in this there's different pages that kind of just explain different things, whether it's how to start the conversation with the parent, different signs that you might be able to recognize that signify someone might need more help. It breaks through what independent versus assisted versus memory care is. So it just walks you through a very high level version of what senior living is, what resources are out there. And so we put a QR code on the back that you can just scan and a copy will be sent to you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If people are interested, they're like, oh, I'm concerned about mom or dad, grandma, grandpa, or whatever, that's on your website, right?
Yep, it's on our website. You can put your information in there and it'll download for you. And then I think we can also, it's on our socials and stuff like that.
Perfect. I'll put a link in the description, guys, if that sounds like something, a resource that you need.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Amelia. Is there anything else that you want to talk about or plug before we go?
I think just ask for help. You're not on an island, and use your resources no matter who they are.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for watching. This is another edition of Spotlight Southern Utah. We're here every week with a different business owner, and we hope we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.